The tea here is so delicious. I can feel the taste of tea in my throat.
I feel my life is so boring if this without tea.
I enjoy drinking tea in the afternoon. Nothing comfortable than holding a cup of tea and watching the sunset.
Oh, we speak same the language.
We are the same. I solely remember that in the British, they have a tea ceremony in the afternoon. It's called afternoon tea.
Something I never heard of before. Could you tell me a little more about it?
Yes.
Tea consumption increased dramatically during the early 19th century, and it is around the time that Anna, the seventh Duchess of Bedford, is said to have complained of having that sinking feeling during the late afternoon. At the time, it was usual for people to take only 2 main meals a day, breakfast and dinner at around 8 o'clock in the evening. The solution for the Duchess was a pot of tea and a light snack, taken privately in her boudoir during the afternoon. Later, friends were invited to join her in her rooms at Warburton Abbey, and this summer practice proved so popular that the Duchess continued it when she returned to London, sending cards to her friends asking them to join her for tea and a walk in the fields. Other social artists quickly picked up on the idea, and the practice became respectable enough to move it into the drawing room. Before long, all of the fashionable society was sipping tea and nibbling sandwiches in the middle of the afternoon.
Occasionally, you will see hotels serving a high tea. Traditionally, the upper classes would serve loud or afternoon tea around 4 o'clock. So before the fashionable brown menu in Hyde Park, the middle and lower classes would have a more substantial high tea in the day. At 5-6 o'clock, in place of late dinner, the name derived from the height of the table on which meals are served. High tea being served at the dinner table, many visitors from overseas still admit that we are a nation where, in the words of the well-known song, at 3:30 everything stops for tea. Such daytime afternoon tea is usually only an occasional luxury for the British, a birthday treat in a country house hotel, or welcome break, hectic day shopping in town. Luckily, visitors are still able to indulge in a little bit of British traditional for themselves.
Afternoon tea is a tea-related ritual introduced in Britain in the early 1840s. It evolved as a mini meal to stump the hunger and anticipation of an evening meal at 8 p.m. Afternoon tea is a meal composed of sandwiches, usually cut delicately into fingers, scone with cloth, cream and jam, sweet patches and cake. Interestingly, scones were not a common feature of early afternoon tea and were only introduced in the 20th century. Afternoon tea was initially developed as a private social event for ladies who claimed the excellence of society. It was only when Queen Victoria engaged in the afternoon tea ritual that it became a formal occasion on larger scale. Now at tea reception, this reception could have as many as 200 guests with an open-at-home invitation to visit between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. During which they could come and go as they pleased. This was the genesis of the afternoon tea as we know it. In Britain today, afternoon tea is usually enjoyed as an occasional indulgence or to celebrate a special event, such as birthday, a pre-wedding party, or baby shower with a group of friends. The drinking of tea not only became a social event for the upper classes, it altered the time and manner in which they took tea. Afternoon tea became the break between meals because many wouldn't eat the evening meal until maybe 8 p.m. As such, afternoon tea became a mini meal in itself. This was all well and good for the upper classes, but the working classes went to a different schedule and a different budget. Tea was still quite expensive at the time, and the working classes could not afford to waste it on anything other than necessity. A weary factory worker wouldn't arrive home until 6 in the evening, and when he did, he was famished. Third, in the industrial area of the UK, the working classic evening meal involved high tea. English high tea usually involved a mug of tea, bread, vegetables, tea, and occasionally meat. Variation on high tea could include the addition of pea, potatoes, and crackers. So, while afternoon tea was largely a social event for the upper class counterpart, high tea was a necessary meal in the 18th and 19th century. This traditional high tea still exists for some parts of the North and Scotland. Why is it called high tea? A possible explanation why this type of meal were called high tea in the fact that it was eaten at a table. In comparison, afternoon tea was taken with sitting in low, comfortable chair or sofa. Of course, soon after, the upper classes developed their own variation and also called it high tea. This was a meal that could be eaten when their servants were away or not available, as it was so easy to prepare. The upper class high tea involved the amalgamation of afternoon tea and high tea with the addition of peasant, veal, salmon, and fruits. It is important to add that the afternoon tea menu served in the UK today is often referred to as high tea in many other parts of the world. Because of this, some hotels, such as the Ritz in London, use the term high tea in London to emphasize their afternoon tea because a large proportion of their customers are from overseas. Some venues do serve a special high tea menu in addition to afternoon tea, which include additional savory items such as wild rabbit, English muffin, pie.
Afternoon tea is a time spent meeting, dressing, and relaxing of the elegant ladies with the same tastes and interests. So, the atmosphere of the tea season is the number one priorities. Afternoon tea is usually held on the weekend. Taking place in the afternoon, so it doesn't necessarily include dinner. The appropriate time is 14:30 to 17 o'clock if there is a game, or 16 o'clock to 17 o'clock if there is no game. To make a good cup of tea, people will use fresh whole tea leaves, not tea bags. When brewing, there is also a separate tea filter. Each guest has their own tea tower, fork, cooking culture, sugar spoon, and milk. In particular, the tea table is more beautiful if there is a fresh flower is touched. The two worlds were radically changed the taking of afternoon tea, especially with tea rationing continuing into the 50s, but the custom did survive until well into the mid-20th century. However, as the British began their love affair with coffee particularly, afternoon tea became little more than a morsel of faded British tradition to danger before tourists. Wheeling forward to 21st century through, how come afternoon tea at the Ritz is now one of the hardest to book dining experience in London, and outside the famous Petty Tea Room in Yorkshire will circle the block, come 3 o'clock, up and down the country. Hotel dining rooms are full and tables gone under the weight of stand, some buckets with cake and spoons. Tea are packed once again and in a big way. Ironically, it's the economic downturn which began around 2008 that's greatest for this revival. The return to more traditional value and humbly bruises is more prevalent when money is tight. It's same. There is one big difference, however. In the Dutch's time, tea neatly filled a gap in the day. Today, the afternoon repast tends to replace lunch and diminish the need for a large dinner. Stay at home. Mom use afternoon tea as a way to mix and eat. And what's better way to use up time on a wet, cold staycation than a few hours lingering over the tea and spoon? So fashionable is afternoon tea that brides on a bouquet are choosing to serve instead of the formal sit-down meal. And even spas around the country are serving afternoon tea as part of a spa day out.